2, 1. Okay, we're live on YouTube. Okay, we're live on X Top Post. Okay, last but not least. Okay, we're live on IG. Let's get everything going. We're live on IG. Oh, look at this, what they do. They must have changed this. Oh, look at this. They changed the video. Live on IG. Huh. Ain't that something? Oh, look at this, what they do. They must. Okay.
Time alone when I am perfectly willing to give her everything she needs. I don't care about her past. I don't care what she's been through. I just want to feel one night with good love, baby. That's all I want to do. So baby, if you got that feeling, well, I want to give you that midnight healing. You know what I'm talking about, yeah. Just turn the lights down low. Come right on over here to me. I know you don't want no commitments, baby. I just wanna set your body free. And I don't care what's going on in the night outside my door. I just wanna get your head right, baby. Give you all the love I got for sure. So baby,
All right, y'all, hang on. Let me get everything situated here. All right. What's happening, y'all? Well, let me get my drink. All right. What's good, everyone? Good evening. How's everybody doing out there? Is my head a little hot? I think I look good on screen. I'm all right. Let me move this back. All right. So how's everybody doing out there, huh? What a wonderful Monday. Welcome to the Hour of Power, y'all. Yeah. So I hope everybody had a great weekend and a good a day as I did. I want to welcome you all to the show. It's happening. Let me just do a quick sound check. Make sure that everything's all right over here. Yeah, I think everything's good. Yes. Come on, Mark. Don't make me go to X. All right. We're good. Okay. Okay. So, guys, welcome to the show. We have a special guest tonight. So a little bit of a different show tonight. Usually we are focusing heavy on artists. Now we're going to talk to actually, I guess you could call it a social site, an exchange site, an art site. Focuses on art and more of an art exchange type site. And so we had Shaker with Centuris about 2 Fridays ago. And now we have Nas is joining us with Remix. And so his site has been hot. A lot of people have been saying great things about it. And so it's thought it would be a good idea for me to reach out and have a conversation with him, talk about him, and take a peek at his site and get a nice rundown of everything that's going on. So a little bit different. We might not be visiting so much art towards the end of the show. We'll probably be checking out the site and how it works and just the features of it. Nas will be taking us through a tour and whatnot. But before we do all that, let's welcome Nas. Let's bring him on. I don't want to waste too much more time. I want to get going. I want to spend as much time as possible. Let's bring him on. Let's see if we got him here. We got him. Oh, there he is. All right. Hang on one second, Nas, before you say hello. Let me make sure you're good everywhere. Okay, we're good. Nas, what's up, Nas? Say hello to everybody.
What's up, Mark? Hello to everyone out there. Good, good a couple hours for us to jam. So looking forward to this.
All right. Welcome to HOP. Welcome to the Hour of Power. I appreciate you taking out your time and coming on, man.
Yeah, dude. We jammed for a couple hours this past weekend, so it flew by. So I'm looking forward to doing this in front of an audience and all our friends out there. So yeah.
Yeah. We chopped it up pretty good on Saturday. We had a good conversation. A lot of good energy. But let's put all that to a side. Let's start the show off, Nas, because I'm sure everybody's interested as well as I. Maybe you could do a brief introduction, talk about yourself a little, give a little brief history about yourself, and then maybe talk about what has brought you here and what has brought you to HOP and part of the whole art community and art world. I'll let you take it from here. Go ahead, Nas.
Yeah, for sure. So I think to understand how I got here, I think it's important to understand that I've been kind of in this art and tech space for almost 20 years. So my background's a little bit different from other people in this space, from the crypto space. I was actually a geneticist, so I was a scientist way back in the day, almost 20 years ago. So back in, I grew up in a household where my father was a research scientist, so I was kind of raised to be a research scientist. So I did a degree in genetics, and I thought I was always going to go into research. And then during that time at university, I started getting interested in creating products. So I spent a couple of years doing software engineering to merge genetics and software. And then I worked for a biotech company out of California for several years. But all my nights and weekends, I was always working on creative side projects. It's kind of this, I think my family wanted me to be a scientist, and then, which I love that whole world. but I always was, super motivated by, art, design, fashion, creativity. And I was always looking for ways to merge those two. So nights and weekends, I was always working on some sort of creative project. And one of those projects back in 2005 was with my best friend, never meant it to be a business. But what we did is we merged my world of genetics and his world of digital marketing. And we came up with this idea of taking our DNA. I would bring it to a lab. I would sequence it, stain it, photograph it, and bring it into Photoshop, colorize it, and then print it on huge pieces of canvas as giclée prints. And the whole idea was like the modern day self-portrait, and it's your DNA as artwork. So some friends and family started asking for us to make portraits of them. And then we put up a website called DNA11.com, where you could come on the site, you could choose your size and color of your artwork. You would purchase it, we'd ship you a DNA collection kit, you swab your mouth, so it's not like blood or anything like that. You send it back to us, and then I would go in the lab and I would extract it and go through the process and ship these pieces around the world. And then all of a sudden, USA Today wrote an article on us, and overnight opened up my email and I had 60 or 70 orders. Until then, it was just like an order a week, or changed my whole life. I ended up getting fired from my biotech job because all I was doing was spending time doing art and taking people's DNA and turning it to art. And then that was my beginning of merging art and tech. So it started quite some time ago and it evolved ever since then. But I'll take a pause there until it got to that next stage, dealing with photographers and digital artists. But maybe we'll take a pause there if you want to jam on that.
Yeah, so I always like to dig in the past. I want to know more about these creative projects that were on the side, but the DNA thing sounds almost fascinating. So if I have this correctly, you would you would swab, then create the DNA profile,
yep.
But you would take a photo of that DNA profile and then move it to a giclée print or a canvas. And then that would, that's kind of, it's always fascinating to find the art. I got to kind of dig sometimes, but that's pretty interesting.
If you do a search for DNA11, you can see some of the imagery of the past. Kind of looks like an equalizer. Actually, I have the first one ever made in the back behind me. The big kind of unlock for us was, as we started selling them online, we got picked up at the Museum of Modern Art to sell through all their design stores.
Oh, wow.
So I was in New York quite a bit between like 2008, 2009. We're selling through all their design stores. So you could buy the kit there. And then we do all the fulfillment. So I actually brought all the printing in-house in my 700 square foot apartment. I would send the samples out to a lab because the samples started increasing, in terms of volume. So I couldn't do it myself. And I built the whole kind of production line out of my apartment. And until we moved out into an actual, studio and space. But the MoMA picked us up and it was a really good run. We did a lot of celebrity DNAs for auctions for charities. We merged all sorts of different materials. So it wasn't just artwork. But it was a small business, right? I mean, it got to about $1 million a year. It was fun, taught us digital marketing. And I just had a lot of fun doing art and tech. But then in 2007, the iPhone launched, and then mobile photographs were going crazy. And then everyone started coming to our studio asking us to turn their mobile photographs into artwork. So we actually launched a sister site beside DNA11 called canvaspop.com, where people could take their photographs, have it printed as artwork. And then that business, doubled like every year for many years. But the big unlock there is I worked with some of the top photographers in the world, printing for them at a 30,000 square foot facility in Las Vegas. We would do the printing and shipping, fulfillment, really focused on quality. But we built an ERP in the back end running all the sites that would manage all the orders. And then I opened up an API. So I had hundreds of mobile applications all plugging into our back end, from Microsoft, all some of the popular paint applications. And then that business became super profitable, 15 million a year revenue, sold it in summer 2021 for 30 million, all cash, raised very little money. And I sold it to Circle Graphics, which was the largest on-demand printing company in the world, owned by HIG Capital. So it was a nice, clean exit, and I felt really good about how I left that business. But then I discovered the world of NFTs. Now, we can get into that in a second, and how I discovered NFTs and why I thought they're so powerful for artists, especially when I was working with monetization on the print side for artists for so many years. And then that opened up a whole can of worms from 2021 to now.
So fascinating, right? Because we're about to kind of walk into this whole NFT land and what you're creating now. And so to me, it seems like you've always been dancing on the outskirts of, not only have you been creating art, but then you moved to the outskirts of helping artists actually get their prints and canvases made, which still includes you pretty heavy in the art world. You know, coming from that whole genetics, schooling, but then kind of always fascinating how you're always kind of dancing around the art world a little bit. And now not, you know, a part of it with the DNA, or took it that way. And now, you know, you have the physical end of it, right? Which a lot of people today who create art go straight to digital file, NFT, but you have a lot of knowledge behind printing, printing the paper, printing the canvas, not only printing, but shipping and getting the prints out to people. So here you are, you know, working with a ton of photographers. But not only that, but I'm sure people outside of photography probably started sending their art to get printed, probably started sending all sorts of things to get printed, kind of picked up a business in this. And then, you know, seeing all of everyone's art go to the wall, you know, going out to order, shipping. There was a time when I was working with Shopify. I'd set up a Shopify store. Probably heard of them. Printify. So Printify plugs right in to the Shopify store, where the products, you know, your photo goes straight to whatever product. They handle the shipping. They handle the, you know, the printing. They take their percentages. You see a percentage of that sale. They take the rest for all their service, which I thought was fascinating because it takes the burden or the stress off of the actual artist, where the artist can just create and not worry about the back end, which is the manufacturing of the prints, if they want to get prints out to somebody. Unless they're taking it super serious when it comes to printing, they got to sign them, and so forth and so on. So you have a lot of experience when it comes to artists, dealing with artists, even before the whole NFT thing, right? So
For sure.
Yeah. So, but talk about how you kind of wandered into the NFT world. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we were doing everything in those days. So we'd do the site development in the front. We would do obviously all the marketing, the branding, then the ERP, then, you know, be shipping out hundreds of pieces. And then when I said we opened up an API and we had all these different applications, I also built an art marketplace called created.com, where you could create your own art gallery. And it was beautiful design, gorgeous galleries. And then artists would create their gallery, and then we would take care of everything. And that site, the conversion was always super low. It was like always less than 1%, number one. Number two, by the time, you know, the shipping was done, the printing costs were done, there wasn't too much profit left over for both the platform as well as the artists. And it always bothered me that artist monetization was so difficult for, like, you know, 98% of artists out there. So after I sold, you know, the whole machine, the Circle Graphics, I discovered NFTs. I'm like, okay, digital monetization, high gross margin, programmatic royalties. It had all of the things that were great for artists to monetize in a new way, that I hated about the print side of things. So we started getting into this space, and then we wanted to come in with a very different angle. And we actually allowed artists, the first product we ever made was allowing artists to upload several pieces of artwork onto a little tool. it would then superimpose on these 3D models, and the 3D models are usually wearables that you could export to wear on avatars, and then the goal eventually was to wear, in different video games and so on. And then you press a remix button for the end collector, and you come up with a different permutation and a combination. And then you could mint it as an NFT on ETH, So had a lot of fun. We did some amazing drops with some unbelievable artists. But that was back in the day when you're on ETH mainnet, gas costs were insane. And then what we noticed while we were building is that interest started moving from art NFTs to then PFPs. And today now it's on meme coins, and now it never came, none of the profits ever came trickling back to what it was like in 2021, as and then we saw a bunch of things happen, right? So we saw decreased cost for these NFTs, number one, and then number two, decreased demand, for 95% of artists out there. Now, I didn't get into the NFT space for the crypto side, so I didn't move on to PFPs and other things that we could have built. I was there for the artists. I've been working with them for almost 20 years. So our whole job then was, how do we figure out a model here that's sustainable, number one, and number two, that's not based on speculation. And it was honestly, Mark, like 3 years of constant experimentation, and like going back to my science background, everything was an experiment. So it was 3 years of experimentation until we got what we have today. And we thought I think now we're moving really in the right direction. But I'll pause there.
So, Nas, interesting, right? It's because I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything is by fluke, right? It's now come to learn that another company were involved in arts and artists, right? And now you wander into NFTs, you learn about NFTs, all digital prints, nothing physical. Strictly, people creating, whether it's digital or creating physicals, then snapping a digital, and then placing a digital for sale. So all right, not have to worry about anything. And now here you are tinkering around, hanging out with the artists. I got to imagine that over your time period of being in the space, you saw a lot, right? You probably had a chance to check out a lot of different sites over the time period. 3-4 years later, some have stayed, some have gone. Some have managed to stay alive. A few have managed to close down. When you look at the arena of the all of the exchanges or all of the social art platforms that are in existence when it comes to NFTs, from your perspective, right? What have you seen take place within these sites? Because I don't think they had a bad ideas, but why are they not sustainable? Why are they closing and not being able to find a way to continue their businesses of selling art? From your perspective, I'm curious what you have seen that brought you to, because it's not as if you didn't pick a a project. It's a little challenging. Not only that, dealing with artists, and then on top of it, in this digital world where there's already so much, the crypto, there's so many bad things, the bad aura around crypto, and then NFTs are fake. And there's just so much negativity, but yet there is a community thriving and surviving within this whole thing. So you chose to stay here. You chose to, set up camp, plant a flag, and not only that, but create a site that you want to help benefit artists. But I mean, you're walking through this minefield, and I'm just dying to know your perspective of why, why don't you go ahead, pick it up from here?
Yeah, for sure. So first off, I never came in with a crypto angle. we picked up the blockchain development over the last few years. We picked up the crypto piece. We started understanding the culture. We came in from the artist perspective, heavily on the artist perspective, and we're very mission focused around helping artists monetize so that they could do more of what they love. So when I started seeing this implosion of NFT art sales, and then all of that liquidity move over to PFPs, at that point, because I did not come from a crypto angle, I just realized, like, okay, the speculation has gone to a easier path where you just do a 10,000 PFP collection, and then the trader can just trade these very quickly, and really focus on the speculation, and then they don't really have and then you started seeing a lack of return on investment for then buying artwork, and then some of that capital went to like the top 1% of pieces out there. But then it's like, okay, well, I like to work for the 90% of artists out there to be like, okay, how do we create a living for you? So that was my perspective on it. I realized that once I was in it, that all of that liquidity was just moving with other channels where you can make faster money, quicker money, and so I realized that, but I looked at all of the attention that NFTs were getting every time an artist dropped it. And when I say attention, I mean click-throughs, I mean eyeballs, I mean people interacting with the content. And from my e-commerce days, and I've also built GIF apps and all sorts of other things I won't get into, but I realized that those eyeballs were extremely valuable. And I was thinking, how can we, in a non-Web 2 way, but in a Web 3 way, how can we monetize the attention that these NFTs are getting for the artist and these attentions on Web 2, but be able to bring that value of that attention that gets created back to the artist via blockchain payment and a platform. And then that's how we started experimenting with this idea of a free NFT, even gas-free, that is given out to a collector with the option of adding a tip. And 20% of all these free NFTs that we're allowing artists to issue on our site, we're noticing that they were getting tipped. But now what happened is, because we created it free, we increased the conversion rate of getting an interaction happening on the site. So on an e-commerce site, you're getting like 2% conversion. And then anyone who doesn't convert, you don't get an email address, you don't get data, you don't get anything. Now, if you're going free on digital NFT, because there's nothing physical to submit, once that interaction is made, then all of a sudden you get data, you get interactions, you can find out who the user is, and you can start a relationship. So if there's a portion of users tipping you, and there's another portion of users that are interacting with you and coming into a pipeline, maybe you can monetize it in different ways. So that was the premise. We issued it at that time. I don't think everyone liked it, but the key thing that we did that differentiated us from many of the platforms that are coming out now with similar types of model is we said only approved human artists can create content on the platform. And the reason that that's so important is, as soon as you open it up to anyone that's able to create content, then you're just a creator platform. And once you're a creator platform and you're a cross between a marketplace and a social network, then you're just competing against Web 2 social networks, but it's on chain because you're not doing anything different. So what we said is, no, we're going to prove, and what ends up happening in those platforms is that the artist boosted up with amazing content. They drive the network initially, and then all of a sudden they get drowned out by creators that are better at marketing, number one. The dance competitions start coming out, number two. And then number three, the very people that started up all the traffic in the network get drowned out. They get less views. And then it's no longer a community anymore. So our thing is community first, but let's create the platform to be able to get the community aligned in a specific way. Let's create a little bit of economics there. But then the next stage was, okay, how do we scale this so we could bring more outside revenue in from collectors that are not going to value the speculation, but rather tip an artist in exchange for an NFT, in exchange for a spotlight on Web2 social. interactions on Web2 social. So what we came up with is this featured tipper concept. So I believed in it so much that I dedicated $100,000 this year to tip artists on Remix. And I think that was the first time where everyone was like, okay, he's putting his money where his mouth is. You can go on chain, you can go to my profile. I think I've tipped $17,000 so far. So I got another, 83 to go, but we'll get there. So what I said is, okay, if I'm going to tip these artists, what I'm going to get in exchange, I'm not going to focus on reselling. I'm going to get in exchange engagement on X, engagement on Web 2 and Web 3 social platforms, and that engagement, those eyeballs are going to be valuable. And if I could take away the speculation, but rather that could be the exchange of value, maybe I can bring a brand new audience to start collecting artwork because they're looking for that attention, and that's the exchange of value. Because I don't want to repeat all of those high-end art NFT marketplaces that are already out there. They're already there for that interaction. So keep your higher-end stuff on Foundation and Super Rare if you're accepted there, or higher-end stuff on Object. Bring some work in progresses over here. Bring in some other kind of pieces that are just sitting in your hard drive gathering dust, and then use that as a way to interact with collectors on our platform in exchange for likes and engagement. So in the background, I was measuring all this engagement I was getting, and I only have a little over 3,000 fans on Twitter, on X, but I'm getting a crap ton of engagement when I tip artists on Remix. So I looked at that tension, I was like, that tension is super, super valuable. And then the question is, okay, is it just me, or can we replicate this? So every week we had a featured tipper putting in $1,000 every single week, and we started seeing the same thing for every featured tipper every week. And it wasn't focused on speculation, it was focusing on supporting artists financially in exchange for the community supporting the people that are bringing in the new revenue. And then on top of that, as you start sharing all that content as a featured tipper on Web2 Social, you're now sharing all that content to get new human collectors to come on board, discover artists, drive them over to Remix. And now you're getting new human collectors on the platform that are not there for the speculation, but rather there to collect art. And then go to the profile and maybe, go and look at higher end pieces on different marketplaces. So that was the premise. And that started working really well. Now the question is, okay, how do you scale that out? Which brings me to the next portion of our theory, which is starting to work now. But I'm going to pause there because that was a mouthful and a lot of realizations and a lot of experiments to get to this point. But there's always, thought process behind it.
So interesting, right? Because it feels like you've lived this path of always assisting or helping artists. As you've helped artists get their work printed. Now you want to help artists get their money in their pockets and establish a livelihood. I think every artist, wants to say they want to be able to focus on creating. And they want to, reap the benefits of social media without having to do all the social media work. It's clear that you know about Foundation, you know about Object, you know about Super Rare, more of an exchange where you can go on and purchase a piece of art. When you created Remix, it seems like you decided to go a different way, more of a social media way. More of why don't you keep us updated? What's going on with your life? Why don't you show us creating the art? What made you make that decision that, maybe not exchanges where we sell art, but maybe down the line, maybe in the future we could implement that. But let's kind of stick with just the, let's show you what we're creating or what's going on in our lives. And why don't we try to get artists, in terms of that way paid, the attention that artists garner while they're creating their works of art. And then, of course, it'd be common sense, but I'd find it hard to believe that maybe down the road you wouldn't want to implement the final work of art where that piece might want to sell. But you did decide to take a little bit of a social route instead of an exchange route. What was there anything there that created that decision?
Yeah, so our premise there was we kept going back to first principles and saying, okay, well, let's break down what creates the conversion of someone purchasing a piece of artwork, not for flipping it, but rather for keeping it and supporting an artist. And there's several artists on the platform that I continue to support on a daily basis. And the reason I'll tip them more is because I understand their story. I understand what's behind the artwork. I understand why they're creating art. I understand what motivates them. And, often artists need to be able to tell that story. So if I can encourage our community to share that content on Remix, as well as sometimes some finished pieces that a gathering does, then I can shine a spotlight on these artists and why they do what they do, especially seeing them actually work, which is super inspiring, whether they're doing sketches or paintings. And then that'll create a deeper connection when human collectors come onto the platform and like, oh, wow, I know what they're doing here. I know why they're doing it. Let me go discover their X profile. And the best way to do that is creating content and not focusing on a very finished, clean gallery type of artwork on a marketplace, but rather merging the two. So that was a premise, and it's resonating both the collectors, it's resonating from artist to artist. But I think the next step that we're taking, I think, is the most innovative, and I think it's going to bring the most amount of value to the platform, which I'll get into in a sec. Yeah.
Okay. So Naz, so from everything that you're telling me, it almost seems like your background has been creating almost like the perfect storm. You could be sitting on something potentially very big, right? You have the knowledge of artists and working with artists and how they work. You understand social media and attention very well. You've also had the back end of it, which is taking works of art and creating physicals from them, or taking digital files and creating physicals from them. So you've been sitting in the NFT world. You've learned all about how NFT sales work. You decided to focus more on the artist creating the NFT end of it, which is the attention part of it. You decided to go to create a site that only favors creators when it comes to creating art. And then on top of it, you know very well about the back end of it, which is the exchange part of it, which sounds like it could be implemented anytime you want, if you wanted. And then on top of it, if you
I got an announcement a little bit later, so I'll show you a sneak peek. But yeah, keep going.
I don't want to. I won't bust no balloons yet.
I want to keep some alpha for you. I want to keep some alpha for you.
And then not only that, but then down the road, you could also possibly implement a print function for anyone who wanted to maybe print an artwork or get a canvas of a piece or something that's up on the site. So kind of like almost like the perfect storm of, a platform that caters to artists, pays attention to artists, wants to get artists paid. Not only wants to get artists paid, wants to hook them up with more collectors, more fans of their art, give them the ability to sell the piece. And then not only that, but hey, if somebody wants to print a piece or create a canvas or a print from it, there could possibly be something like that down the road as well, built off your knowledge as well. So there's a huge potential for this right now, which is growing very quickly and strongly, but there's so much more potential here, especially when you take a really hard look at your background and all of the experience that you have. And now, there's the implementation, which never existed back then when you were creating Canvas Pop or anything else. You didn't have the ability to implement AI or anything like that. And now there's just so I don't know if you want to take us to the next.
For sure.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
So first off, I want to build the future, not the past. And I'm just like, okay, what do things look like in the next few years? Now, near the tail end of Canvas Pop, I actually created a small little R&D lab. And it was my two co-founders, Mike Montgomery and Paul Spencer, our CTO. Mike is Chief Product Officer, and our Director of Engineering, Zach James. All three of them, after the acquisition, came with me to start Remix. And then we rounded out the team with a few more developers and marketing. And what we were working on at that time was the intersection of AI and art. So we started looking at style transfer. We started looking at, okay, where is art creation going using AI? And then that's when some very popular apps started coming in, where you could take your photos and turn it into paintings using AI and so on. But I was kind of always in the background saying, man, we got to use AI to be able to boost human artists. And it was always kind of in the back of our head, as opposed to replace them. Fast forward to where Remix is now. We like the model that you're exchanging attention for minting these NFTs. We are bringing collectors to the platform that were new, but artists are also tipping artists. But the big problem is there's not enough human collectors out there to really create a big market. And that's where a lot of the other platforms started pivoting and opening up for anyone and everyone to be able to create content and so on, because they just need the numbers. They need scale, right? So we're like, well, we don't want to go that direction. We've got to be pro artist. And then we started experimenting a few months ago with AI agents. And then at the same time, AI agents started getting more and more popular. And when we started experimenting with AI agents, what we discovered is for AI agents to be able to be relevant in Web3, in the blockchain space and crypto space, they need attention. They fuel off attention. And these agents, if you train them correctly, they can go out and carry out a specific task. So we said, okay, well, why don't we go to first principles? The main thing is there's not enough human collectors out there. What if we created an AI agent that's the super collector? Number one, this AI agent is able to create revenue on both Web2 and Web3 platforms, number one. Number two, this AI agent has a personality, has a lore, has a background, becomes an actual character. And then if this AI agent gets popular enough through our community that we're building in Remix, that AI agent then can come back, tip artists on the platform, and the more value that they create on both Web2 and Web3 platforms, this agent can bring the resources and the value back to the Remix community. So we started experimenting with that. We came up with this agent called Zen. So, and that's all came from the realization that we can exchange, right, the opportunity of tipping someone and getting attention. So we've created an AI agent now that can automatically tip artists on the platform, number one. Number two, curate some of that artwork and then share it on Web2 social. Tag artists, and then that agent is doing a couple of things. Number one, it's giving financial revenue to the artists on the platform, number one. Number two, it's showcasing our artists on Web2 social to try to get more collectors on board. So we're curating some of the artwork from the platform. Then number three, we're starting to build an entire, backstory and a character behind it, and eventually be a series of AI agents and different characters where we can create content all across different platforms. And then it becomes a revenue generating machine that the Remix community owns because they'll keep bringing resources back. And it was just the realization that you can get attention by giving to artists, and in exchange for that attention is bringing the resources back. Now, that's the stage we're at right now. I can get into where that AI agent is, what the plans are for it, but eventually the goal is to tokenize the agent so that our Remix community can own that agent. It'll be tokenized. Half of the tokens will be, kept for the community. And then the rest of it, broken out into different segments. So the tokenomics to come, but this is what we're all building towards. I can get into what that AI agent does in a second, but let me just pause there because that was a handful. That was a mouthful. But the main problem we're solving is if there isn't enough human collectors, let's build an AI that works 24/7 to go find more human collectors to bring them on board. Because if we're not doing that, we're not bringing any value to the artists, number one. And then number two, it complements the already existing human collectors on the platform, right? Pause there for a sec.
Yesterday, Saturday, we had some time to jump on a call and chat, and I had mentioned a little bit of my perspective. I felt that when the NFT, the whole 2021, there was an NFT, the whole NFT boom, the art boom, art was selling left and right. I felt like investors and collectors were looking at art the same way they were looking at maybe PFP projects. And then, PFP projects really took off, and they saw a lot of profit from investing in these, 10K collections or these 8K, 9K collections, things like Pudgy Penguins or, Bored Apes, Azuki, what are the little cyberpunks. You got all these collections where this little JPEG, overnight shot to 400,000, 500,000 people celebrities were picking them up for 1.3 million, just to say that they owned one of these things. And so I feel like, now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even know if you share the same perspective as this. And I mentioned it to you, and I'm pretty sure that we agreed. But the collector kind of viewed the artist and the artist's artwork. And let me say it this. Do you think that the collectors viewed the artists and the artist's artwork the same way that they viewed the PFP projects? But, you put your money into one PFP project, there's 10,000 of them out there. You put your money into an artist, there's 10,000 artists out there, but they weren't seeing the returns like they were seeing from the PFP projects. And then, a couple of years later, meme coins came in and exploded, even bigger than the PFP projects. So all the money started shifting from the PFPs to the memes because people started seeing profit from these quick flips of, first PFPs, then meme coins. I've said in a couple spaces, I've said this plenty of times to friends in spaces. I said when the investors start viewing artists like they view meme coins, if artists came with charts that showed their sales, and you could look at an artist and see, look at an artist like you look at a company, and how often does he post? How often does this artist create? I said, if there was a site like Marketplace Cap where they weren't looking at coins, but they were looking at artists, Jeff Schutz, Beeple, question mark, Kath Simard, X Copy, when they're looking at artists' names and you could click on one like you could click on a company, perhaps that flipping an artwork, there might become some sort of value to it, which for the upper echelon of artists, there certainly has been. But, if a collector purchases a piece of art and then goes to turn to sell it, would the sale still be there? And so I think they started learning that maybe the artworks and the art don't behave the same way necessarily like the PFPs or the meme coins. And so then it became more of a focus on, profits in meme coins and PFPs and less about the art. And that's kind of why, the collectors are shifting focus and there's not so much going on, or not as much as it used to be. Or do you think the collectors are going to return and we're going to have a wave like we did in 2020, 2021? I don't know. These were thoughts that we were sharing back and forth, but clearly, the artists are the ones that are keeping, crypto, in my opinion, they're a brick in they're a cinder block in the foundation of crypto, because they actually created a really great use case for crypto.
100%.
Right? And not
100%.
on just one chain, on all of them. They got Bitcoin pumping with ordinals. They got ETH and Base pumping.
They always start everything. They start everything.
Yeah, Solana, Tezos, Avalanche, where the XRP exchanges, right? So
correct.
They have literally created this use case in crypto where it's like, oh, crypto's bad. It's the black market. But wait, artists There have been artists that have become extremely successful and lucrative from the whole crypto world just through their art. I don't know. Any thoughts about all that before you jump into the whole AI?
Yeah, 100%. And I saw that evolution. And there's a couple of ways to do it. I think the marketplaces were like, okay, we got to pivot our business model. And then you're starting to see different models come out, which I won't get into any specifics, but everyone knows the newer platforms that are coming out. Now, these newer platforms, their approach is let's turn the artwork, right, into
Attention.
that chip, right? Into that chip that you could sell. You could quickly, so that's their view on it. I didn't want to go down that path. I think they got that covered. That's still an experiment, right? And then to be able to do that at scale, you need to let everybody create, and you need millions of people on that platform. And then the platform is going to grab their pennies and as it aggregates, that's good for the platform. I just didn't want to go down that path. I wanted to go back to first principles and say, okay, we can think that the collectors will come back and be like, okay, now it's art NFTs. But I think that's a pretty, I don't really like just sitting there and waiting and hoping that somebody else is going to come and save, by people, which are the artists I've been working for 20 years, right? And when I DNA 11, I was, an art and tech kind of artist. So my view on it was, okay, I want to keep only artists creating the content. I want the focus to be on them. There is the human collectors that are left, in my opinion, if they don't come in and trade them like penny stocks, are coming in because they want to support the artist and they want to collect it. They want to create that relationship. They want to be part of the community. There's not enough human collectors there that value it like that. They're not putting their money in a significant way for that type of exchange, but it is happening. So that's when we said, fuck it. Let's go make our own super collector, our own entity that works 24/7, that is smarter, that can aggregate data like no other human collector can, that doesn't have any emotion. You could tell it, no, you're not here to speculate and flip artwork. You're here to go out and get as much resources on the internet as possible and bring it back into our community. And in exchange, our artists are so passionate because we create such a passionate community on Remix. Because we did all the right things that are so pro artists, I think that's why we're getting this love back, that our community as it grows is going to continuously give you attention. And as your attention continues to grow and your lore grows and your content grows, and we just launched this thing on Twitter like last week, right? And it's already starting to go, then you're going to attract more collectors, which will shine more spotlight. And as your value grows, then we're going to tokenize you so our community can own you. And then we're going to have a series of these AI agents built on the same methodology, but kind of working in different verticals to bring back more resources to the community. And then what we've just launched today is we have human verified badges now, so that we can ensure that no bots are on the platform. And I'll go through the human verification process in a sec. Also, human collectors on the platform get a badge that we know are validated a human, and it says verified human for the collectors. So if they collect from you instead of an AI, then you can build that relationship with them. You can, airdrop them something special and so on. Another thing that we've done is the AI will never mint your artwork and put it in its wallet, even though it has a wallet. What it will do is like it off chain on Remix, share the content on Web2 Social, keep it off chain, and then give you a direct to artist tip with its wallet, with its budget. So it's financially benefiting you, but it's not putting any artwork in a AI's wallet, which several artists are like, we don't want that. I'm like, no problem. He'll be a promoter, he'll be a revenue generator, and he's going to work 24/7 for you, and he'll give you the financial transaction, but he won't take your art into some AI wallet. Hopefully he'll bring you more human collectors. So I'm like, first principles, if the problem is there's not enough human collectors that are in this space that are just buying for the sake of community and holding on to pieces, fuck it, let's use modern technology to go create our own collectors. And what do they need? They need attention. And I've proven over the last 2 years and through my tipping on the platform that you can get attention by interacting and tipping artists, right? So I'm pretty excited about it. I can get into how it's being trained right now and what the status is and the technology we use. But the beautiful thing is, this isn't all just make-believe. This is happening today in all sorts of other platforms. And there's other platforms creating AI that generates their own music, that AI generated music, and then AI generated art. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like, so is that what the path we want to go down? Or do we want to create AI and use AI's characteristics of, working 24/7 and to be able to process, loads of information that humans can't, and bring that value to human artists as opposed to competing against them? So Zen, if you see him, which is the name of our AI agent, if you go to Remix, he hasn't been given a creator status. He doesn't create any content. He just collects and promotes, right? And he's not allowed to create content because we don't want him competing with our artists. So the whole vision here is using AI and to promote human artists. And I think over the next couple of years, human creation is going to grow in value and is going to have a premium over the next couple of years. And that's why we're betting so hard on these human verified badges. We're building a protocol as well and integrating with other protocols eventually to get these human verified badges. And we're just doubling down on Team Human, but not ignoring and fighting technology, using it to our advantage. I'll pause there for a sec before we get into the details of where the agent is right now, but it's pretty cool, it's pretty cool. And it's fun because we're doing something different,
So where most are using AI to assist and help in creating their art, you have decided to use AI to help and assist in purchasing human artworks. It seems like to me that if I have this correctly, you're going to training AI or AI agents that have the ability to go out into Web3, Web2, generate this content, create ways for they create revenue sources. They bring the revenue back to actual Remix, and then share that revenue with the artists, the human artists that are actually creating on chain. The interesting thing that I find is that AI is training itself on us creating art. It's paying attention to the human and what we create, and then it's paying attention to our art, and it's saying, okay, let me spit something out in this style or this fashion or this form.
Not our AIs, because we don't believe in AI creating artwork. Right. That's what other platforms are doing.
Right.
Our AI will never create the content because we don't want them competing against our artists. We want them showcasing it. But yeah, you're talking about other platforms, right. But right. We're using it very differently.
Yeah. I'm saying you're using AI in a completely different way. You've actually sent it out on a purpose so that it goes out into the field.
It's got a purpose. Yes.
Right.
Go out, work for us. Not enough human collectors? Okay, fine. You're doing meme coins? No problem. We're going to go create our own billionaire AI agent out there that is going to create content, is going to have, IP surrounding it, and is going to work on both. It already has a Rodeo account, for example. It's already going to be, it already has an account on Zora. It has Web3 accounts, but it also has Web2 profiles as well. Right. So over the next couple of months, you're going to see a ton of content based on its lore to make that entity more and more popular. And then it comes back, tips verified human artists on Remix, which gives you a reason to come and get that human verified badge. But yeah, that's the premise behind it.
Okay. And interesting too, because you've decided to really focus in on the creative human being, right? It's the human being that is creating shit that we've never seen before. All of these different artists creating all of these different ways. It's a very, humans, you never know you give them something, you never know what they're going to come up with. The original thinking. That's what
right. I love.
Yes. Yes, that's
Yeah, and if you're gonna throw a party, like we're sponsoring, breakfast brunch with Fidel out in NFT Paris coming up mid Feb, and I think that brunch is gonna be a lot cooler with human creatives than a bunch of digital robots creating artwork. So just that human aspect of it is what I want to work on, but using leveraging technology to bring the value back. Yeah.
and the more that the more that AI is being used with artworks. I mean, you hear people chirping about it now. All these young kids using AI. Is anybody going to learn Photoshop? Is anybody going to learn how to use a camera? Are they just going to, right? So that really then creates such a focus on original thinkers, original creatives,
That's it.
people that are going out there and they're creating something that's never been seen before, that's something that AI has never seen before, so it can't,
Yes.
and then this human brings this original creative project to a platform and everybody's just like, poof, mind blown. But then, once that original creativity is out there, it's accessible by AI, but that original creative human should get and
Correct.
deserves the credit, which you are trying to focus in this mechanical end in tipping and bringing revenue to this creative original thought end. Do I have that all correct?
Yeah, 100%. It's like it's I'm making a bet that in the next 2 to 3 years, progress on AI, progress on AI agents, progress, on even AI generated content is definitely going to proliferate at a rapid pace. But I believe that human created content, human created art, and we look at art as digital art, photography, and music, is going to have a premium associated with it as these bots start getting deeper and deeper into our platforms. And we're creating systems, and you can't fight the technology and try to stop it. That's a losing battle. That's just losing.
Right.
But you can use and leverage technology to be able to take that value and bring it back, but monetize it in a completely different way, which is what we're trying to do with Zen, the AI agent. We've given the lore and a personality, and we're training it first on Remix to be able to tip artists, like automatically. It's also now able to scan artwork and comment, make intelligent comments about the art and compliment it. So if it could do that, then it could share that content on social, showcase the art, make intelligent comments so that when new collectors are looking for new artwork, they can see that that agent working 24/7 is commenting intelligently on their artwork so that they could discover new artists, and then it'll drive more human collectors to the platform as well. And then eventually, the goal is to tokenize all of them and bring back that value at a token level. And then I think that's where the people that are betting on meme coins, they're going to get interested in the tokenization of these AI agents, because that's where the speculation is. That's where, you can flip them, but we're not turning artwork into the poker chips. We're creating the agents that are working for creators into, a speculative asset. And none of this is really like make believe or science fiction. All of this technology is happening, but it's being used in different applications. We're building on existing frameworks, but we're just looking at it in a completely different way. And we're looking at it as, okay, let's go back to our original mission back in helping artists printing way back in the day, is how do we use technology to bring value back to human artists so that they can monetize more and do more of what they love. And I don't think the future is on a screen tapping away, like, increasing your cortisol level, which decreases your creativity, burning artists out. I'm like, how do we leverage technology so that they can work on that more original thinking type of pieces, and then share, some of that content on the platform, as opposed to turning the art into penny stocks, which, that's a different model. It's cool. Let's do that thing. I just don't want to build that. You know what I mean? So
I I have to ask, Nas. You seem to have this passion to help artists. Uh, I don't. Where does that even come from?
I just like helping just people, right? And I think that's the core of everything that I've done through all my companies is really, extreme customer service, treating people like gold, company culture for my employees way back in the day. But this idea of community and all of these people winning, like when I say that we're going to put $100,000 into Remix, and I'm close to $20,000, I'm not going to get that money back, but I'm running an experiment, and the experiment was, hey, let's try a different model to be able to innovate for my people here. And really, it's just like this passion of community building around a group of people all working towards the same goal and battling it out with each other is just the best feeling in the world. I'll never forget when I was when my dad took me to India. So he's from India. I came to Canada in the 60s to do his PhD in physics and chemistry and was a scientist for, a few decades. And then near 20, he was kind of seeing that I was getting a little bit lost and stuff like that, being distracted. So he brought me to India, into this small little town where he grew up, which is a village. And then I was just exposed to so much poverty. And I'd been to India many, many times, but it was really not like a dad-son kind of trip. Hey, go, let's look at the village that I grew up in. And look, I clawed my way out to get to where I was, to give you more opportunities. So if you mess this up, all of this hard work, it's going to, die in value. But when I saw that property, I remember giving money out to kids that were looking, that were begging for money. But then when all my money went away, all my rupees went away. And then if you observe the kids, they would go and give it to some adult that I guess were controlling them all. And then late at night, I went to the hotel with my dad, and I was like, shit, how do I help at scale? And the only way to help at scale is to create value in a large scale is to create value through business. And that was the moment where I decided I'm not going to be a scientist. I'm going to somehow go through my genetics degree and come back into business to ultimately be able to help people. And so we've done tons of charity stuff through my last company, and then beyond that, it's just helping people, right? So I feel it's a very positive vibe right now in this community. Our success is absolutely not guaranteed. This is all one big experiment. But if I can make the right decisions for the right reasons, then I don't ever have to defend anything. I could just say, these were the reasons that I did the decision. And then it was for ultimately helping people build a community. Right. So that's a motivating factor for all of it, and yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's really, really fun for all of us to kind of go through this together.
I think as long as you stay true to your heart and you stay honest, and you're doing it for all the right reasons, I don't think you can lose, even if it doesn't work out. Right? Even if it doesn't work out,
that's it.
I still think it's a win-win. Right? It's just, hey, we're gonna try something here. Because I'm looking at all these other things, and all these other things don't seem to be working. So I'm going to apply a little bit of a different model, and let's see how this works out instead. Because we're going to solve the problems that everyone else is having, because no one else is solving the problems. And you could see that, especially you haven't really seen it. Okay, so interesting, right? Every time a new exchange or a new platform or something new comes out, it's not only is it new, but it seems to have like a new formula with it. First it was very simple in the beginning with Super Rare or a Foundation. It was or OpenSea, right? Have this piece of art, it's for sale, it's for X amount of crypto. You could buy it. That's it. That was the end of it. Now you're starting to see all these platforms come out, and they are changing their formula in a way. Some platforms are, gamifying their art posting. Other platforms are maybe moving more in a social media direction, less in an art sale direction. So I'm wondering, as I'm sitting here, is it because the older formulas are failing, or are they just trying something new? And every time you hear, this site's hot, this site's hot, you hear something getting hot. It's getting hot because of this almost this new formula. And then here you are throwing your formula into the ring because you've seen everything throughout the last 2-3 years as things evolved, and taking a shot at possibly creating a formula that gets artists revenue and paid and successful, so that at the end of the day they could worry about creating art and paying bills rather than becoming social media marketers or having to chase down the one collector out of the that exists out of the whole entire space. Okay, let me see what time it is here. It's 10:11. Wow, time's cooking. Nas, you think you want to maybe start showing? You want to maybe show everybody everything that we're talking about, or?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
yeah, 100%.
Okay. Hang on, let me move over to the computer here. Let me
Cool.
bring this. All right, hang on. Let me reset. Now you're gonna show your screen, so hang on. Let me set everything up. Give me 1 second. All right, there you go. And then we're gonna full main. There we go. Okay, so you have your screen up, Nas, and yeah, go ahead. Take it from here, man. Oh well, you are showing us Remix right now. This is the
cool.
Remix. Yeah, this is the Remix website. Maybe you could take us through a tour. Go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few different components to the site, so I'll go through each component. Okay. So every day from Monday to Friday, at 11 Eastern, we on the top of the page, so before you get into the user generated content, we have something called a sponsored drop. And every day we showcase another art piece, another artist, sorry. It's one art piece. It's available for 24 hours. And then any collector can come, they can mint it for free, and they can leave a tip. However, what we do is we pay the artist $300, almost like a licensing fee, so that they can guarantee that they receive revenue for this particular drop. And then not only do we give them $300 payment for the sponsored drop, but we also take a small portion, I think it's about $100 right now from every drop, and then we airdrop it into several of their collectors so that they can actually reward several of their collectors that have minted the piece. And the way we look at this is comes from our marketing budget, where we want our marketing dollars going to artists on the platform, not going to key opinion leaders, on crypto Twitter. And that started working very, very well for us. So every day, Monday to Friday, you'll see one of these. And then the end result is a new artist gets discovered, they create revenue on the platform, and they get to reward their clients. Now, the cool thing is you can see exactly who has collected this piece. So you can click over on exactly who the follower is, who's minted the piece, so you know who they are. You can click over to the X profile, so this is not a bot, but this is an actual individual here, which is obviously very valuable. And I'll get into the profile components in a second, but that's what we call a sponsor drop. So I'll pause there for a second before I get into something we call collectible moments, which is the user generated content, and see if you have any questions on this particular drop.
Now, how does the sponsored drop, is that something that you have to apply for? How does that work exactly?
Yeah, correct. So if you go into the menu here, you see drop application,
okay,
and then it just brings up a form,
okay,
and then you can apply for the curated drop. Now, before we did these user-generated collectible moment pieces, this was our only thing that we had on the site. So the lineup for this is actually pretty long. So the wait period's longer. And then that's what actually motivated us to launch a new feature, which we're going to be unveiling in a few days, which I'll get into a moment after we go through other areas of the site.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so
Yeah,
so that's a sponsored drop. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I here. Sorry. Now you could probably see me a lot better.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, my bad. I forgot to switch the camera. Go ahead, Naz.
Yeah, no problem. So we started seeing that mechanism is working very, very well. And then that's when we said, okay, now we're going to allow artists to be able to create their own content on the platform with the same model. It's a free digital collectible for your artists, and then you can be able to leave a tip, but now it's self-serve. So here you see the plus button over here, and then when you come in here, you can upload any piece of content. So let's say I upload, I'll just use this intro image from Zan that we used. And then, this could be a video file, it could be imagery, it could be behind the scenes video, whatever you like. You put in a title, you put in a description, and then you can click on, what kind of category it falls into. Now, when we say we don't love AI generated content, what we're saying is we don't like bots creating AI generated content. However, there are artists here using AI in a more creative way as opposed to prop and publish. But what we do ask is if you've been accepted to the platform and you are an AI artist, just tag it as AI so that the end collector and the community know. And if it's, a sketch, a painting, music, you could just, collect those particular tags. Now, once you go and post it, now notice here that I can't post. And the reason is because I'm not even a creator on the platform. I'm only a collector and a tipper. So not everyone can post content, but anyone can actually tip on the platform and collect on the platform. But if you get verified and you get accepted to create, then this will be live. You press post, and then there's a feed that gets generated for the artwork that shows up in the feed, and then that shows up in just one clean feed without any algorithm. And that's where collectors can mint a piece and leave a tip. So I'll use this as an example here. This is one of our artists we've been working with for quite some time. Notice here that he has tagged it as an AI piece, but he also uses quite a bit of other techniques to make it a little bit more interesting. So as a collector, I could do a couple of things. So number one, I can click on the artist to see who the artist is. Now this badge here, verified human, is the badges that we just created today. So now, everyone will know over time that this platform is almost creating this human verification layer on top of the creatives so that, we can guarantee that bots aren't creating content. You can link over to his X profile, and then, you could do some discovery on, who the particular artist is. And then understand, what other content they're creating. And then there's other components here as well. So number one, there is the stuff that he's specifically collected through other artists on the platform. We're cleaning up our grid soon, so this grid will be a lot cleaner in the next couple of weeks, but right now it's still not bad. It showcases the entire art piece. And then these are his particular moments that he's launched on the platform. Now, another thing that we show is the number of tips that are received on the platform, and then the number of tips that are given on the platform. So what we do is we encourage our artists to take, somewhere between 10 and 20% of the tips that you get and recirculate it back into the ecosystem, so that other artists are able to receive tips from their fellow artists. Now, we always say, we don't want you tipping everything, obviously, we want everyone earning on the platform. However, taking 10 and 20%, giving back into the community is just a healthy thing to do, because then other artists come on the platform and then they can also, support you in different ways. Now, if you're a collector on the platform, then you actually don't have any moments, so you can't create any content. So it's only the pieces I've collected. And then you can see here, we've got a social component on. I've got 599 followers on the platform. This is how many people I'm following. Usually, if you're a collector, you'll see 0 collectors here. But in the early days, I was creating content. So I do have some collectors on board. And then you can see here, and it's all verifiable on chain, how much tips I've given. So far, I've given out about $17,000 in tips. Working towards my promise of giving out $100,000 in tips this year. Pause there for a second and then get into some of the other components. But what we could do here is I can tip an artist and mint a piece. So this is one of my favorite artists out here. He does a lot of really great glass work. I think many people in our community, know who he is. So I can go through as a collector, I can collect this piece, and then I can do a few different things. If I want to take it for free, and then I can collect it, it'll be gas free. And then in exchange, Pong gets my, an engagement from me, and he could see that I'm a real individual, a real person through my real profile. And then he has an opportunity to engage with me and kind of build that relationship. So in the future, hopefully I can discover other marketplaces that has his artwork. Or I come to Remix, and then the next time I decide to leave a tip. Or I could leave a $1 or $2 or $4 tip, or I could do a custom amount. So here I could do, $50, I could do $25, whatever it is, up to, I think $1,500 is the max. And then I've got 3 options to be able to pay. Number 1, if I'm completely Web 2, I can use a credit card option, and then that can go through Apple and Google Pay. Number 2, I could pay directly with my crypto wallet, and that's the payments are in base ETH. Or number 3, I can pay with balance. And the nice thing about balance is that if you get tipped, and as you start building up your tips, you can directly use a couple of dollars from your balance to tip other artists. So artists are never out. But if I'm a collector, then and I'm not receiving tips, obviously, then I can go to balance over here, and I can up my balance. And then this is where I can tip directly from. So I can, up my balance however much I want, or I can, add, up to $1,500 to this. And then I would actually fund it with my crypto wallet and bring base ETH into the system. So I'm going to collect from Pong. I'll leave a custom tip of $5 right now. I'll click on balance, and now I'll confirm. So a few things are happening. So number 1, he's getting $5 US in base ETH deposited into his balance. Number 2, I'm receiving this NFT. So now it's on chain, specifically on base. I can share this piece as well, so that he gets some promotion on X. And now I can go into my collected section over here. Now I've got this beautiful piece, which I'll refresh here. You'll be able to see it in a moment right here. And then this is the piece that I've now collected from Pong. He's received a tip. I can click over and see the contract details here and see that it's on chain. And everyone wins. Now, a few cool things that we do over here on the left is if I'm an artist, I can go to my earnings page. Also, we have something called a direct to artist tip as well. So you don't have to mint anything, or you can even tip a collector to reward them. So if I go to, this artist specifically, I can click on tip. And when I tip, nothing gets minted. They just receive base ETH directly into their balance. So you can go into your earnings tab, and then you get a few things. So like I said before, I used to be able to create moments, but because I don't consider myself as an artist, I want to be true to the platform and say, no, I'm just going to be a super collector on the platform, not going to be able to create content. But when I was a creator, I was able to see all the tips that I was receiving on the platform. Now, I also have direct to artist tip. So this is when you get a direct to artist tip from someone on the platform and not anything minted. And what you have here is we're testing out our AI agent earlier today. He tipped me $1, And what you could do is you could send a thank you message over to whoever tipped you. So when you click on this, you could say send, and what ends up happening is an email gets automatically sent to Zan or whoever tipped you, and then thanking them for that tip, which is really fun. Here you get your collect to earn rewards. So collect to earn rewards are when you're doing that, when you're a collector and you collect that featured piece. And then we're taking a group of our most active users that are tipping, and we reward them with these micro payments just to show our thanks to supporting the platform. So this is kind of fun. This one's pending right now, so we'll, which is the one I just minted today. So tomorrow, 24 hours later, I'll find out if I won or not. Yeah, which is super fun. You've got transaction history and all sorts of other information. You can also go to analytics. You can see your collectors. You can see how many pieces were collected. Like I mentioned, I turned off my creator status, so I stopped seeing any things that were minted. Also, I can see who my top collectors are on the platform. I can see their reach, whether it be Twitter. You can also add your Farcaster handle to each account as well, so I can see who they are on Farcaster if they've connected it. And then I can go into each, profile and to be able to see who they are and who my top collectors are. Now we are adding some more analytics here so that you can organize who's tipping you, be able to build relationships with you, and our artists and our creators really want more of those types of insights so that they could build deeper relationships with who's tipping them. So that's pretty cool. Last but not least, we have these leaderboards, and the whole idea is, it's all about a giving first platform. I've deleted myself from these leaderboards because, my numbers are much bigger, but it shows how many, who is tipping how much. And it shows, this leaderboard, which is really cool. You see Leslie Spurlock, who a lot of, is pretty popular on several platforms. She's received like close to $4,000 in tips, but she's given out close to $6,000. So I don't think she wants to keep the money. She's really doing it to like build the community and add to the community, which is kind of cool. We have something here called a tipping streak. So this tipping streak is people that are tipping on the platform and doing it a number of days in a row. So you can see Jack, which is No Need News. He's a collector, a super collector and tipper on the platform. He's not an artist. He's actually a big supporter on different platforms of artists, but he's on the leaderboard for tipping for almost 100 days now, which is super exciting. And yeah. So I'll go over here to the home. I think I've shown several different components of the platform. There's obviously a social layer so you can follow, but this is Zan. So Zan here is the featured tipper. So this is what I was talking about before, how every week we had a different featured tipper having a specific budget that they can tip to the artist. But now permanently it's going to be these AI agents now that are going to be tipping our artists. Now you notice here he's given out close to $800 in tips already in this past week since he's been alive, but he's collected nothing. So he's doing direct artist tips, and then what he does is he likes it off chain on Remix and then shares the content on X. So if you go over to his X profile, you can see he's showcasing all the artists that he's collected from. He's tagged them. And his goal here is to showcase more artists on the platform to bring more human collectors to the platform. Now you can see here it's verified AI. So instead of verified humans, verified AI. So the collectors will say verified human, and then the AI agents will say verified AI. And I think that's going to be really a big part of our platform. I'll pause there for a second because I'm going to show you something pretty cool that we're going to launch very soon. So I'll give you some alpha, but we'll pause there and see if you have any questions.
Okay. Yeah, I got a few questions, actually. I want to say hello to everybody real quick. That I want to do. What's up, Anna? Good evening. I hope you're out there. What's up, Sketch? Glad you guys are here to join us. Panta, hello. How are you doing? Josh, what's going on? I see you. Rainbow Moshu, good to see you. I do have okay. So Josh does have a question. He says, "So you are, so are you selling the viewer engagement metrics to ad platforms to generate revenue?"
No. So what we're doing is everything that we've tracked of when I've been a featured tipper is all the Web 2 engagement. However, what we're doing is we want to turn Zan into a revenue generator on Web 3 platforms, but also what we're looking to do is turn him into a major influencer creating content and IP across all different Web 2 platforms. So he'll be also monetizing in an off-chain Web 2 method, and then bringing that revenue back into the ecosystem, and then finally tokenizing them so that the community owns Zan as opposed to, you know, a corporation, or if he gets super popular, I could just sell Zan, which I don't want to do, and that's why I want it, you know, owned by the community.
Okay. All right, guys. If you if there are anybody, if you guys have any questions out there, feel free to drop them. I will I will give them to. I will be more than happy to pass them on, and get your questions answered. Okay. Nas, question.
Yes.
A lot of problems come into play when onboarding the masses. What type of so signing up to the site, and you know, getting your you know, being able to move around, tip, generate. It seems like there's a bit of a credit card. You have a credit card option. How does it work when somebody signs up, just wants to come on and be part of this? Do they have to sign up with a wallet? Do they have to get into Web3? Is there a plan for, or is it basically, are you focused more on the NFT crypto, or are you trying to onboard the masses? Because you know you're going to have to get them past that whole wallet and the whole, you know. So yeah, go ahead, take it from there.
Yeah. So number one, anybody and everybody can sign up to the site, you know, follow artists on the platform, you know, get a beautiful feed of all of these curated artists on the platform, collect pieces for free, and build relationships with these artists. So, and leave tips, right? So that's the number one thing, is that everybody can came to the platform and collect and tip. However, only artists can create. So that's the permission we turn on. Now, in terms of logging on, you can log in through email. So you could be completely Web3, and then as soon as you get an email, then we have create a custodial wallet for you. So you're just doing it in a way where it almost feels like a Web2 onboarding. So we thought that that was very, very important to onboard, you know, completely Web2 people as on-chain gets more and more developed. Or you can come in purely with MetaMask wallet, you know, Coinbase wallet. We're integrating to Phantom a little bit more deeply soon. But you can come in very easily in a pure crypto way as well. And then if you go to your profile, you can go to edit profile if you're a little bit more crypto savvy, and then you can start adding different wallets to the platform. So right now I have my MetaMask wallet connected to Remix. But if I was a pure Web2 person, I would just have a Remix wallet, which is a custodial wallet that we create together with an email. So we give those different options. Now, if an artist comes in as in a Web2 way and then starts really getting into Web3 and getting into crypto, and they're like, you know what, I want to have my own wallet, then you can just add it to your back end. And then all of a sudden now you're operating in a much more kind of Web3 crypto native way.
Okay, all right. So that kind of solves the onboarding the masses problem, especially if you could sign up without a wallet, right? There's not going to be any hang-ups there. What's up, Leslie? Leslie's in the box. She says hello. She also mentions that there's also a feature where you can view an artist's upcoming drops. Is that correct?
Yeah. So this was this is something we're experimenting with. It was right here underneath the daily featured drop. We're experimenting with removing that, and which is just the site that a website update we did today, and get directly into the user-generated content the moments, because we felt like new users were not finding the moments soon enough, because there was an entire section here that showed all the upcoming daily sponsor drops. So we're going to speak to the community on our next call and see, do they really like that feature? And then we could potentially add it back. But it's basically, those are the sponsor drops from Tuesday to Friday, all being showcased right underneath the feature drop.
Okay. My next question was followers, right?
Yeah.
Two questions in that department. Let's say you're following 100 people, or let's say you're following 1,000 people. Let's say, you have 1,000 followers. When you post, do all of your followers, does every single follower get it? Or, does everybody see the post or have the opportunity to see the post? Or is it like an algorithm choking type thing? Or does, when somebody posts, is it free to see? And then also, when it comes to collectors or supporters, I guess they're called followers. Yeah, followers on here. Yeah, following followers.
Yeah.
When it comes to what is it up to the is artist discoverability on the platform? How does that work? Is it something where the artist has to go around and post everywhere so people are aware that they're on Remix? Or what are the ways that people can discover each other through the platform, which then obviously will bring a following?
Yeah. So number one, we don't want to replicate the problems in Web2 social. And that's why it's so important for us to have curated content creators on the platform that are only, so that we're non-algorithmic feed. And then we could just, feed the pieces directly, through the feed in chronological order. I think that's really important to us. And then we could just give you, 3 different options. So number one, you can see all the stuff. So you can discover new artists on the platform. Or you can come in here and, just click on the artist that you're following as well. So you could do that. Or you can go into suggested, which is just people that you're not following, you haven't followed yet. So it's a non-algorithmic feed. Now, what we do is give email summaries of everything that's happened during the course of the day to the people that are following you, to be able to increase that discoverability of the artists. And then it features, these are the pieces that were published today of the people that you're following. And then if you like some of the stuff that you see in the email preview, then you click over and it brings you to that particular drop. So you can increase discoverability that way. Plus, you can go over to any artist, and you can go over to the collected section, or go to any collector and go over to the collected section. And then you can start discovering artists this way here as well. So I can, start loading more pieces, but I can click on, a particular piece and then see who's created it. So if I like this piece over here, I could discover Nicholas. There's many people on the platform know. And then now all of a sudden I have all sorts of, different artists that I can discover on the platform. So it's really about going to the pieces that you've that other people have collected, to be able to discover new artists. So it's a really, really great way to discover new artists. Now, big question is for many of us is, do you want to create a secondary here, so that you could purchase that piece? But we're being very, very careful with that. That's obviously a feature that we can implement. So now I can, buy this on a secondary. You could obviously do it, on other marketplaces because it's on chain, but do it in a very easy way. And we're going to work very hard with the community to make sure we do it in a way where artists are really excited about that feature. And there could be some dangers, I think, on the speculation, the really rapid speculation stuff if we put that feature in, I think. But I think doubling down on the AI agent, I think will bring a lot more value back in the ecosystem. Now, what we decided to do is we said, okay, well, now this is my Figma board and this is a new feature, so I'm just unveiling it. What we said is, okay, well, if we're not going to offer a secondary, we've got to offer something that's unique to the space where they can generate more revenue. So we decided to introduce, and this is some alpha. I've never shown this before, but we're very close to unveiling it. So I think I can show it now. But when you create your moment, you'll now have two options. One, you could do free plus tips like the current model, or you can click on set your price. And if you click on set your price and you publish, and once you publish set your price, the feed will show up like this. So I could either collect a piece for free, which is the original, and you click on this and you have the option to leave tips, or I can collect a more finished piece that they want to leverage our community and our collectors and the community to generate more revenue. It's still available for only 24 hours, so you're going to get that scarcity. However, you can now charge $100 a piece, $200, whatever you want, and now you've got social with the free tipping model alongside, hey, I want to actually charge for these pieces. And I think you could do the free pieces with stuff that's collecting dust or behind the scenes or things like that a little bit more often. But every once in a while, you could do a paid piece, which will be a higher end piece, so you could leverage the community. So super excited about that. I think that's going to be a really cool feature, and I'm just excited to to get that piece going, to get that feature going.
Real quick, now is there, because everybody editions 101 things of that nature. This is just a straight as many people as want to collect it, correct? Or is there a limit that you can put on this? How does that work, Nas?
Yeah, so it's 24 hours. There's no limit to however many can be minted. But as we go into the paid option, the higher the price, then I think the scarcity, there'll be less pieces minted, and then that can create some really good scarcity on the pieces. Okay. They're two very different use cases, but we're going to offer it right on one platform. So this, for example, I think would be a piece that you could potentially do the free plus tips, the behind the scenes piece. So I'll collect it here. I love these behind the scene pieces, and this is kind of what we're talking about human created, which I think I'll have a premium over time, but I can collect this. So I'll do it at $4, click on my balance, confirm and pay. And let's see here. My balance is there. Let's try it one more time. Live demos. No, it's working well. So confirming transaction. Also, now the ETH was transferred. Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
It says ETH, but this is now this is
base ETH.
Right. Correct. Okay. Just
yeah. We put the USD dollar amount just to make sense for more mainstream individuals, for mainstream users as they come on board, just to make it easy for them, right? So. But it's in base ETH.
Now, for the creators, do they make the choice? So is it something that the revenue stays within the system until they make the choice to bring it out, or is it something where they get? Oh, okay, all right. So
okay. So you click over here. You want to take out your earnings. You click over to your earnings. It goes into your ETH wallet, and you walk away. We're never taking any money from the artist to mint or anything like that. It's always about giving value to the artist. They could take out right now we can't withdraw partial amounts. Unfortunately, that feature will be coming, but you can withdraw the whole amount, bring it into your wallet, and then bring some back if you want later, or just wait till you get more tips so you could just re-tip some of that out of your balance if you want to tip other artists. So yeah, we keep it super simple, super easy. No games, no, just here's the money, take the money if you want, give back to the ecosystem if you want. Just keep it easy, right? Like no games, just keep things simple and straightforward for everybody.
Okay. Was there anything else that I wanted to ask? Interactivity, comments. Is there comments?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
so
yeah, there's comments. I got. Yeah, I see. I got.
Yeah. So I can click on here. There we could do. Let me just tip something else. See imagery. Okay, I like this. So let me just, I can, so I can click on this particular moment. I can go into the details. I can leave a comment right here. Now, this is what's cool about Zan, the AI agent, is Zan is going to be able to like it off chain. So he's going to click this heart. He's not going to mint it. Then he clicks over here. He clicks on the user and he gives a direct to artist tip so that he's not collecting the artwork into an AI's wallet. And then he'll leave a comment. But his comment will actually have relevance to the piece because Zan we're training Zan to be able to recognize elements in these pieces and comment in an intelligent way as a sophisticated collector. And that's going to be really cool because he could bring that commentary to Web2 Social soon enough. And that's really to engage new collectors and so on. So yeah, so I could leave a comment here, you know, beautiful piece. I always used to say collected and tipped, and then it turned into C and T. I don't do that as much anymore. But it was just kind of like a fun thing I did in the early days. You click on that comment. Now he gets a notification that I made a comment and I collected the piece. So I'll just, you know, tip $2 on this. And I think I showed you the custom feature too. We cleaned that UI up pretty well. Yeah. So yeah. So super fun. You can comment, you can like off chain, you can tip direct artist, or you can mint tip.
So probably a silly question. I know it's a silly question, but I gotta ask. So when you collect or mint a piece, when you collect it, that the piece then goes to your wallet, correct? So you should be able to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious.
Yes, correct. If you have your own, you know, crypto wallet in, then it goes to your wallet, and then you can see it on chain in other marketplaces. However, if you go with an email and a custodial wallet, it'll, you know, you could transfer it out if you decide to add your own crypto wallet later. If it Web2 decides to become more Web3 to it.
So someone posts, let's say they post what they feel is a rare piece of art that they just created. Maybe they put a price tag of $10 on it, or $20, or maybe even $1, or maybe they just throw it up there for that whole free moment.
On the new feature that's coming out, you're talking about. Setting price. Sure.
Whether it's a moment or it's a price, whatever it may be. Let's say 10 editions of it sell. So then those 10 editions are the only 10 editions out there that have been released on here. And then those 10 editions could be that's secondary market, correct? That would they be available?
Correct.
Okay, so then
so they're minted on Base Network. Now technically you can go out and sell that on secondary market, and then 10% of royalties in the smart contract will go back to the original artist.
Right.
So that's programmed in. Now everyone's asking, well, why don't you put a secondary market directly into Remix? And we're going to work with our artist community really, really closely to make sure we do it in a way that they're happy about it.
Okay.
But you could definitely buy this on secondary market in a different marketplace for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a typical piece. Once it gets closed, either 24 hours, it says this collection is now closed. And then it shows all the people that have minted it. Probably a lot of people here that you know, are known in the community, and then it shows you how many tips they get, and then if you are, you know, Anastasia, you can go over to the analytics over here and get some other kind of details about the drop, which is super fun, and yeah, get to know more of your collectors and who's tipped you and so on and so forth. We're going to make that a lot better in terms of communication to collectors, but everything takes time.
So let me ask you a question. The 24-hour, okay, the new features, that's 24 hours too, right?
It's always going to be 20. We just want to keep everything really, really, like, kind of want to keep one format, so it doesn't get confusing. Create a moment, choose. Do you want to do free plus tips, or you want to do paid? Perfect. Today it's just free tip plus tips, but very soon it's going to be the paid option. And then as a collector, I'm scrolling, and then I can see what's free, and what's actually, you have to actually pay for the piece. So it's just super, super simple and easy for everybody. Tried to strip out as much as possible and just make it very simple for both collectors and creators.
So say I can't get to the internet. I'm busy one day, and my favorite artist drops a piece, and I miss that moment.
Yeah.
I should say there is an ability to miss the moment if you're not paying attention. Correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah, 100%. And we think the 24 hours is important, so that keeps scarcity. And that's the feedback that I always get is, oh, the stuff that gets missed, wouldn't it be awesome if we have a secondary market? And it's going to come eventually. Like when I say secondary market, I mean directly in the application. So there's less friction as opposed to getting it in a different marketplace. But we just have to work we're obsessed with doing the right thing for our community. Like, you know, you could spend years growing a tree and it takes 2 seconds to tear down, right? So I think that is the most sensitive topic in terms of how we implement the secondary and the platform. So we work really close with our community on how we're going to do that. So for example, the pieces that get minted for free, if that collector sells it on the secondary directly on the platform with zero friction, then we got to create something within the smart contract that 90% of that secondary purchase goes to the original artist, not just 10%, right? As secondary, because it was achieved with no cost. Now the paid stuff, that's a lot easier, right? So these are the things that we need to work with our community to make the right decisions on. Okay. And who knows, maybe like with the innovation on the AI agent and then all the speculation around the token around the agent and rewarding our artist community with that token and what we could do on that side of things, to me, that's just so much more innovative and exciting to work on, because there are other places that, you know, will help you sell in secondaries. But anyway, a lot of thoughts on this.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because it seems like you've created this 24-hour thing. Basically, whoever mints within that 24 hours is going to be the owners of this piece of artwork. And then that's it. It's a wrap in that moment in time, which then creates the scarcity. It's an interesting way of doing it. This is something I would have to sit and marinate on, because it's. You don't want to miss anything then, right? Then it creates this, I got to be on every day to see who's posting what. And I got to make sure that I don't miss any art and any drops, any art. And then the collectors, I know you spoke a lot about this. And you know what? I also want to ask your opinion from your perspective as well. With working with artists, what do you think some of the most important things for an artist? You're creating a site or you're giving a home for all these artists to post their work. You got to have a feeling for what, what's most important for artists, or at least what do you think is the most important thing, for artists to, go ahead.
So number one, it's if we aren't bringing new collectors and new revenue into the ecosystem, then we're useless. All this technology is all, getting commoditized, and as things move less towards, these interfaces and more towards just telling your agents what to do, the value is going to be what platform is bringing new revenue into the ecosystem that doesn't exist, that would otherwise not exist. Right? So that's bringing more human collectors on board, number one. And then, our innovation here is getting the super collector through this AI agent to come on board and bring revenue into the ecosystem. So to me, that's number one, right? Or else you just become this commoditized technology platform. Number two, we're trying to keep it community first, with the idea of only approved creators can create content here, because as soon as you open it up to everybody, then you're less of an art platform and less of a community, and then you're more of a just a creator platform, period. And then it's just a matter of time before professional marketers start using it for all sorts of other content. And then the bots come and overshadow all the human generated content. So I think that's the second part that I really lean on. And I just want to really hold strong and innovate in other ways, which to me are these agents to bring revenue in, as opposed to saying, okay, I'm just going to do the most unoriginal thing ever, which is just open up to everybody, and then the platform wins through microtransactions at scale. But then it's like the artists aren't winning. So to me, that's the next thing that's super critical. And then finally, last but not least, I think we got to constantly be innovating and working on the side of the artist to do two things. One, create technology so that they're not hooked to their phones, and I think we're going to be creating AI technology to be able to help artists spend less time in front of the screen, less time marketing, and more time creating. But I won't get deep into that because our first foray is working on these agents. But it's really about getting them to do less work, we're all heading towards burnout if we're just staring at screens all day. I've got 2 kids, they're active in sports. I want to spend time with them. I can't stand just pressing, being on my phone time, my screen time when I wait for the kids. And especially when you're creating something, you don't want to be hooked to a screen. So the next move for us really is to create technology that can liberate our artists off screen time and not make them run through hoops for the platform, which is just, everyone hates that. But that's the onus on us to innovate and create, technology that could do that. But our first foray into this is with AI agent model, and then there's other ways to use AI to make artists' lives easier.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, less time marketing, more time creating is and
That's
then
it.
being able to walk away from something and then coming back to a revenue is the dream
Yep.
for every artist, right? Hey, I all this time to create less. I don't all this no time. I don't have to worry about marketing, and on top of it, my wallet is getting full here from me creating. What better scenario for an artist than that? Okay. Is there anything else that you want to show us?
No, not really. I just want to thank everybody. Like, we've been working on this for a few years. We're constantly pivoting, not constantly pivoting, we're constantly evolving the product. We want to thank everybody for being patient with us in terms of getting through bugs and getting through, issues with the platform, but it's getting a lot more solid now. It's developing some scar tissue with more bugs that we fixed. And I just want to thank the community. I just feel like it's a very healthy community right now, and I want to keep that health within the community and just make sure I'm just really making pro artist decisions, or else why are we here, right? Like, we need to create something original and different and unique, and really help the community. So just want to thank everyone for all the support.
Also, I think it's important to recognize that this is a baby right now. I mean, right?
It's a baby.
We don't know what the future holds. There's so many different things that could possibly happen here, but for a base, and you look at some of these sites. I often refer to Object a lot because I feel like Object has this perfect design that has kind of weathered the storm throughout. They didn't. It's not necessarily high costing art. There's a lot of reasonably priced art there, and then on top of it, it was built on a blockchain where there wasn't transaction fees, gas fees, things of that nature aren't going to kill you, which made collecting art and supporting artists fun because, hey, it's not killing my pocket. And then it's somehow Object keeps chugging along, and while platforms come and go, and while exchanges rise and then fall, there's Object kind of chugging along because it provides this everyday use case where people aren't getting pounded over the head and you can go on with $20 and collect a couple pieces works of art, not get crushed
Yeah.
in the gas fees, and support artists. That formula seems to stay. That formula
Yeah.
seems to work, and I don't see any difference in that formula than this formula. You're giving people an opportunity to collect art. There isn't a big cost behind that opportunity. The gas fees aren't there. You're creating interaction, and then you're also creating a way for people to connect with collectors. Do you want to talk about that at all before we switch back to close out the show? Maybe the collectors part?
Yeah. So right now, if you go through these leaderboards, you see several of the different collectors on the platform, but you see your own specific collectors. Now, so this is a popular collector I think I brought up before, Jack, or No Need News, which he collects a lot of stuff on Object as well. But there's two things here. Number one, you'll be able to see in your analytics who's been collecting the most, who top collectors are. But number two, right now, the way you communicate with Jack is to go to a verified Twitter account, and you're able to DM, so we don't want to recreate anything. However, we believe that the next move for us is to be able to create the messaging feature within the application, so that you can send them a custom thank you, you can nurture the relationship. We already have all the designs out for that. And in the back end, it turns more like a CRM or customer management tool. And then, the good news is you don't have to thank the AI agents that give you tips, but you'll be able to thank the human collectors. And I know Jack is a human. Many people in the community know him. So I can click over here to update roles. And I can turn him into a, sorry. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Update verification type, human. So I'll update type. And now he's a verified human collector. It's super fun. So he gets that badge. Right now it's going to be manual, but we're going to develop a protocol here. So that's automated. We can do it at scale. But now, okay, Zan tipped me. Now this human collector tipped me a verified human. So you get a new collector, and as a verified human, you can build relationships with them. So yeah, super fun.
I was gonna say we don't all get those 3 dots, do we?
To add these things. Well, I think the important thing is the integrity. Well, I'm thinking that what we're thinking potentially is create a node system where you have verified users on the platform that have high reputation scoring that can then be the validators on the platform to be able to do human verification. That's one method. Okay. On top of integrating with other established protocols. And if that happens, then they could be rewarded with tokens for being human validators. But they have to have a high reputation score so that they make sure that it's actually human. So right now we're doing video chats, and we can give them that ability. But anyway, that's going to be like stage 3 on the whole human verification project. It's fun.
It's gonna be fun to watch you evolve. To watch the site evolve. All right. How do you feel about you want to switch everything back, and then we'll start to close out here? All right.
For sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Excellent tour. Thank you. You're not kidding when you're saying keeping it very simple. That's
Mike Montgomery, my co-founder and chief product officer that everybody knows here. He's a minimalist type of designer, and then my engineering team as well just really respect design. So he just tries to keep stripping away, but it's it's a challenge. But
okay, let me. Okay, pretty interesting stuff, Naz. Take us for a nice tour through the site and really get a good understanding of how everything works. Going to be interesting to see it evolve. Okay. Naz, where do I want to go from here? Before we close out, I know you're quick to answer the messages, But people want to reach out to you. They want to understand how the site works, or have a question for you, or want to sign up. Somebody wants to sign up to Remix. They want to be a creator. How does that work?
Yeah. So once again, anyone can create a user profile right away on the site, and they can start commenting, tipping, and collecting. And then every week, if you go to the pin post on Remix, every week, all you have to do is share your profile on the comment section of that particular post, and then we click over to your X profile, and then every week we're onboarding a new group of artists. So that's the best way to be grown as a creator. Now the goal here is to let not be a gatekeeper here. The goal is to bring every sort of like artist that is actually genuinely creating artwork onto the platform. But what we need to do on this side is increase the number of tips and the number of collectors and the amount of revenue coming in from our different AI agents, so that the artists come on board and it's not a ghost town, and only artists not being artists, but it's rather new money. So I'm trying to figure out what that ratio is. So that's why we don't let everyone on board right away.
Now, also, really quick, the whole human verified thing, and then also only allowing human creators to have access. I would imagine that that's the reason why is you trying to avoid any type of bot issues with the site or anything like that. Is that correct? Do I have that right? Or
oh yeah, it's just like when we opened up for the first 2 days, we didn't have the ability to turn off that thing, so we just said, okay, let's get the site live and just see what happens, and then we want to do the feature to update roles within a couple of days. So we're working on that feature, and then dude, like, we got pounded by AI generated content from bots from everywhere, and it was just like, I'm like, holy shit. So everyone worked all night to get that feature out so we could block it. And it's just, the last thing we want is humans competing with bot generated content that are all automated through these bot farms. Like who wants that? Who wants to be a part? Who wants that, man? Like, who wants that? You know what I mean? Like,
Instagram.
It's just, yeah, for sure. And let them figure that out. Let them figure that out. I can't rebuild that. That's already built. You know what I'm saying?
That's who wants it. They want the traffic. They're fiending for it. Okay, so something very interesting that I have noticed about you and your team and Remix, where a lot of other platforms have decided to start identifying as socials, and we're going to appeal more to social creators or social influencers, or we're moving in that direction. You guys have stayed very loyal to artists. And Elizabeth, I have a lot of messages, and it's my timeline and spaces, and just being a part of the community, being in the community, and listening to people talk. A lot have applauded the fact that, and a lot have not only applauded but loved the fact that you are focusing on the artists, more about the artists, less about everything else. And you're driving in a direction to support artists. And I think that is you find the key to creating revenue or incomes for artists. And the artists are very loyal, so they're gonna go where they feel they have the most opportunity, as well as the attention. And it seems like you're putting all the attention on human creators, while in the same sentence trying to get them paid, trying to get them revenue, income, and then on top of it, so that they can create more, which is every artist's dream. Nas, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you, contact you? I'm going to imagine down the line too that you're possibly going to be looking into. You mentioned this briefly. I don't know if this is something you want to mention again, but corporate sponsorships or corporate being interested in maybe marketing something on the site,
Yeah.
will the AI, are you planning to, possibly get the AI involved in that somehow, or how
Yeah.
would that work?
Yeah. So number one, contact us. You can go to the site, create a profile. Once again, you can DM me on X anytime. We're going to start increasing our presence on Workcast and Farcaster soon, which I think will be really good for us. And then finally, we're opening up a Telegram group this week because we've hit the maximum limit for X comments. We're deciding between Discord and Telegram. We put a vote to our community going Telegram. So watch out for the Telegram group being launched. Now, in terms of the way we look at how brands can get involved is what we're trying to do is build Zan into the super influencer over time. And Zan's power is he's going to be able to have the attention of, hopefully over time, thousands of photographers on the Remix platform, as well as digital artists and musicians who are all using creative tools. And the goal here is to get him sponsored by brands. So let's say Nikon comes, instead of Nikon sponsoring the site or through shitty ads, Nikon sponsored Zan, and then the sponsorship is on chain, and then we can bring that value back to Remix. So that's the vision. I think over time now, as crypto gets more and more mainstream, and now the new administration, a lot less red tape over time, brands are going to come flooding in. And that's why we want to make Zan as cool as humanly possible, from the character to the backstory, to the style, to the vibe and everything, because we think it's going to be a really cool way for brands to come on board and back the mission, right? Pay for the mission, which is help human creators. Because if I'm Coca-Cola or I'm Red Bull and I want to advertise with Zan, I want to make sure that I'm advertising to humans as opposed to bots, because the bots aren't drinking Coke, right? So I just got to make sure it's on chain, and I got to make sure to bring the value back to Remix. So a lot of problems there to solve, but doable. Like, we're at the beginning stages of it. Very, very doable, right? Like,
So it's interesting because most people are trying to figure out how to get AI to generate money, I guess, to bring back for them. And you, in a way, have figured out, you're developing AI to go out into the world to bring attention, and not only attention, but to create revenue, and then bring that revenue back to Remix to deliver
the
it to the
ecosystem,
artists.
correct.
Yeah.
And the ecosystem gives them more attention and more love, and it's just this beautiful, little thing. It's already happening at a small scale. Now we just got to scale it up much bigger way.
Hey, Leslie, earlier in the space, told everybody, said, "Hey, Zan tipped me." So she said it was already in action. So it seems like you are well on your way. Before we say goodnight, man, that was it's just like the phone call. That was a fast 2 hours and 15 minutes, man. You're a very inspirational person. Not only that, but you have a lot of success under your belt, a lot of real world success, and then also a lot of experience when it comes to working with artists, creating physicals. But now you're in the realm of helping artists get paid, or attempting to help artists create revenues and incomes for themselves. So I feel like there's a lot of inspiration here. Maybe you want to leave us off with some inspirational words for all the artists out there who are waiting for that perfect platform to come along and help them sell their art. Maybe you could leave us with some final thoughts, or, go ahead, man.
Yeah, first off, thank you for allowing me, to come on board on your platform and send our message. But I think the inspirational word for me is I want to be mission oriented. I want the whole community to work towards some sort of mission and a vision that is unique, different, but brings tons of value. And I think what's really going to be exciting is when we collectively can create a lot of influence and change together, and then share all the resources that come into that, to that collective group, and share it amongst the community. And everything is on chain, so it's everything is visible. And that to me really, really, really excites me. It gets me really jazzed, all working, kind of battling through the obstacles together and like making the right decisions at every, intersection. Because when you said artists are loyal, yes, but you fuck up and you do them wrong. I've been working with them for long enough
Beep
that
beep.
fuck, it's over, dude. It's over,
They
and
all-
I
yeah,
know
they,
that,
they
and I
also
don't,
they
I don't
also
take that
hold
for granted.
yeah they also know how to hold a grudge.
Yeah. So we got to be very careful on every one of our moves, and that's why I don't have a board of directors or investors. My board of directors is Rachel and Leslie, and now you and people in our community. That's who my board of directors are.
So oh shit, I had something really quick and I forgot it. So I was listening to the end there. It's going to be interesting to watch you grow, Nas. It's also going to be interesting.
Thanks, man.
It's going to be fun to watch the platform grow. I got one last question before you leave. We need a song to close out the show with. So I usually ask my guests to leave us with a song, or maybe send me a YouTube clip of the song, or if you got something you want to shout it out, I'm sure I can find it.
Yeah, I think we got to go with Biggie Smalls. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
Okay.
I think we got to do that, especially
you're in
Brooklyn,
now.
right? You're in Brooklyn right now, so we got to pay homage.
It was all a dream. So I think the art. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Interesting how when the collectors realized that they couldn't flip art as fast as they could flip PFPs or meme coins, and the profit wasn't there. Interesting. Oh shit! I lost my feed here. Hang on one sec.
Yeah, you went black for a little bit.
All right, hang on. Interesting how I'll finish my thought while I switch this out. So it's interesting because we talk about collectors, and interesting how the collectors, when they didn't realize, there we go, when they realized, when they said to themselves, "Oh man, you know what? Collecting art isn't moving the way we expected it to when we move a PFP or a meme coin." And so I don't know, and then I feel like the collectors thinned out a little, right? And now the collectors that are left are probably mostly the ones that are supporting. They find an artist or a person that they personally like, and they're going to collect the art.
Feel that connection.
Yeah, it's right. The real world, oftentimes auctions, artworks, things of that nature. The people who purchase these are people who they don't necessarily buy them for investments, but they buy them because of the fact that the piece resonated with them, or maybe they had a conversation with the artist and the artist resonated with them and struck something and made them feel a certain type of way. And you know what? I want to support this artist. And they never look at it as far as an investment or a profit, or I'm going to flip it. When people realized that maybe they weren't going to be able to flip the artworks like they would a PFP coin or a meme coin, I think we lost a fair amount of investors and collectors. But then you saw a very interesting phenomenon take place. You saw the artists themselves start to become collectors and fans of each other.
Yeah.
And then, artists started collecting from artists, which it's kept the ecosystem alive, kept everything alive. And then, you start, unlike different scenarios where artists are in competition with each other, it's more like artists were all helping each other. And that was, that was a nice thing to see. And I think you see a lot of familiar names within the collectors. And so, it's interesting how the artists, not only are creating the art, but also collecting the art. And then, with a nice formula, I think certain sites can establish, especially if it's not costing anybody anything. If you have the ability to create a revenue and then also tip from that revenue, like you showed, that's a strong thing to stand on. Nas, I want to thank you for your time and for the questioning. I know you mentioned over the weekend. You said, "I'm welcome. I'm ready for the criticism. I welcome the questions. I like the challenge." And I think we good. We went over everything that I could possibly think of, especially not only your background and who you are as a person, but your motivations here, and then also your philosophies about the site, how you'd like the site to work, and then showing a nice broad overview of the site. So took a little bit of time, but it was a fast 2 hours and 15 minutes. I want to thank you for your time and your knowledge and coming on the show, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mark. I'm going to see you in Brooklyn for sure, 100% IRL.
Yeah. So as soon as you get here, man. As soon
All
as you
right.
get here.
Later, brother.
I'm going to close out the show now, Nas. If you want to hang on, that's cool. If you want to bounce, you got family stuff to do that too, man.
Okay. Sounds good. Later, guys.
All right, guys. Hang on while I switch things around here. Nope. There we go. All right, guys. So you just had a chance to hear from Nas. We got a chance to answer some questions, listen to his philosophies, learn a little about him, his background as far as how he got involved in the art scene and the art, helping artists. Not only that, but we got a chance to, really get to see how he thinks. We got a nice tour of the site and learn how the site works and, his philosophies. Not only that, but we really dug into the future of the site, which is the thought process of adding AI agents, or I guess you could call them AI collectors. So interesting tour, a little bit different of a show, but every show is going to be a little different. Not every show is going to be the same. I like the variety, so I always like to dive into interesting things. So I thought Nas was the right person to have on the show. I want to give a shout out to Sketch, because Sketch turned me on to Nas and said, she thought Nas would be a great guest. So, bringing him on was a very, very interesting show. Got a chance to see something a little different tonight. On that note, tomorrow, Space, 9 to 11, with Sketch and Shira, super community, linked by Art. We will be having a space tomorrow. I think with the best way to promote your art projects, or what's a good way to promote a collection. So that should be a pretty interesting space tomorrow. Wednesday, community show, 12 to 2. We will be checking out the WIT community, Women in Tech community, art community. We will have we'll have a community manager as well as the artists on. You guys know how we do our Wednesday community shows. And Friday, we have Rama. I think Rama's the guest on Friday. I'm almost positive. Yeah, pretty sure Rama's the guest on Friday. And then that's 9 to 11. And then we will have TGIF at 1 o'clock. So with Sun and Alina on a space. Yeah. Okay. So that is our lineup this week. I don't know if we're going to have an AI show. I haven't gotten that motivated yet to add a fourth show to the week. I tried it once and it was a lot of work. I do think one day it will return. I'm not sure about this week, so I'm not going to say anything. On that note, I want to wish everybody a beautiful week. It is going to be a beautiful week, a beautiful year. I think a beautiful future. It was a great Monday, and I expect a lot of great energy tomorrow, the rest of this week, the rest of this year. I feel like things are in the right direction, back on track. Yes, sir. So on that note, I'm going to shut down the lights here. I'm going to say goodnight to all you guys, and I will look forward to seeing you guys on the next show. And we're going to bring up some Biggie. Oh, Biggie. Out of the blue. How about that one, Biggie? I would never expected that one. Bump this light up here. There we go. All right. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Give me a second here. I'm going to come back over here and give shout outs. Anna, it's good to see you. Thank you for checking in. Sketch, good to see you. Thank you for checking in. Panta, thank you for tuning in. Josh, thank you for tuning in. Rainbow Mashu, thank you for tuning in. Leslie, thank you for tuning in and joining. All right, guys. It's going to be a cold week, everybody. Stay safe. Let's head over to Instagram. Let's see who's over here. All right. What's up, Gilda? Good morning. Nope. Hang on, guys. Linked by Art. Thank you for checking in. Over on GM. Over on IG. Thank you for checking in. Art East Women. Thank you for checking in. Good morning. Good morning, Panther. I don't know why I look different, Panther. Little bit cut on screen. Hey, Panther. These guys are over here talking. My head is a little cut on screen. I didn't notice. I have to check that out. Thank you, Panther. I didn't know you guys were over here chatting. Zach, thank you for checking in. Blonde hair, thank you for checking in. Galleria, thank you for checking in. Photoshop Universe, thank you for checking in. Hello. Hello back. Cream, Tony, Lori, Gilda, thank you for checking in. All right, guys. Thank you all for checking in. I'm going to check one last thing. Hang on. Let's just check around, make sure everything is... we got anything over here on Twitch? No, nothing. Twitch is quiet. YouTube's quiet. Okay. Facebook. Big money. Thank you, Gilda. Thank you. I see you. I'm saying hello. I see you guys over on IG. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll say hello. I'll say hi to you for 1 second. Hang on. Where are we? There we go. All right. What's up, Panda? What's up, Gilda? Thank you for checking in, Gilda. Thank you very much. Big Money over on Facebook. Thank you for checking in, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you for always supporting. All right, guys. On that note, I will see all you guys next show. We got to bring up Nas's song here. Hang on. Yeah. All right, let's go. On that note, y'all, see you on the next show.
Yeah. This album is dedicated to all the... Fuck all you hoes.
See all you guys on the next show.
Yeah.
And check out Remix.
This album is dedicated to all the teachers that told me I never amount to nothing. To all the people that lived above the buildings that I was hustling from that called the police on me when I was just trying to make some money to feed my daughter. And all the niggas in the struggle. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, baby. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack, Mr. Magic Molly Mall. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke? The hard, you never thought that hip-hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like the world's trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner? Peace to Ron G, Brucey B, Kid Capri, Funk Master Flex, Love Bug, Star Ski. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. Call a crib, same number, same hood. It's all good. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
Alright, guys. Get a chance, check out Remix.
I made the change from a common thief to up close and personal with Robin Leach. And I'm far from cheap. I smoke skunk with my peeps all day. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. The Moet and Alizé keep me pissy. Girls used to diss me, now they write letters cause they miss me. I never thought it could happen, this rapping stuff. I was too used to packing gats and stuff. Now honeys play me close like butter play toast. From the Mississippi down to the East Coast. Condos in Queens, in dough for weeks. Sold out seats to hear Biggie Small speak. Living life without fear, putting 5 carats in my baby girl ear. abused by the pool, considered a fool, cause I dropped out of high school. Stereotypes of a black male misunderstood, and it's still all good,
You guys want to reach out to Nas?
And if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
This is 95. All right, yo.
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this. 50-inch screen, money green leather sofa. Got 2 rides, a limousine with the chauffeur. Phone bill about 2 G's flat. No need to worry, my accountant handles that. And my whole crew is lounging, celebrating every day, no more public housing. Thinking back on my one-room shack. Now my mom pimps an act with minks on her back. And she loves to show me off, of course. Smiles every time my face is up in the sauce. We used to fuss when the landlord dissed us. No heat, wonder why Christmas missed us. Birthdays was the worst days. Now we sip champagne when we thirsty. Damn right I like the life I live, cause I went from negative to positive, and it's all. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga. And if you don't know, now you know, nigga. Representing B-Town in the house. Junior Mafia, Math Label. Yeah.
Power, yo. Thank you for tuning in. That was a damn good show. See everybody on the next one.